Your Honor.
Justice Leonen.
Good evening, Counsel. May I ask a bit more of your indulgence for a few more questions? Maybe I should shift ground a little and look at the core values. After all, you and I have been professors in a very good school, very good law school, in constitutional law.
I agree, Your Honor.
Perfectly. And I'm sure several others would agree. That the counter-majoritarian power of this court is only with respect to whether there are core values that are embedded in our system, in the words of our Constitution, that we need to protect. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And therefore, again, your indulgence as I go through some of the principles, in order just to get my mind at least clear on the direction of this particular piece of legislation. So first, may I ask you, are there Filipinos who do not eat 3 meals a day?
I believe so, Your Honor.
As a matter of fact, there are people that can go hungry on a daily basis,
Yes, Your Honor.
not having any square meal
Yes, Your
for
Honor.
that matter. And many of them, of course, may not be in the streets of Metro Manila, although there are some, but many are in the mountains, in the rural areas, and may not be present here, may not see the live tweets coming out of this courtroom. Are we not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. These people, do they have education? They do not have access to education, precisely, maybe a cause, or also an effect of the fact of their poverty. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And in many instances, even the church may have no access to them. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the nearest church may be kilometers away, and they will have to make a very strong moral sacrifice for them to actually attend Sunday masses for Catholics, or Friday prayers for the Muslim, and many others. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And for them, government probably is not even in their imagination, and to them, government as a reality may not exist. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Of course, we do not want that situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
There are males and females in these kinds of families. Is that not true?
Yes, Your Honor.
And correct me if I'm wrong, they cannot get pregnant.
The males cannot, Your Honor.
They cannot. The females, I mean, of course the males cannot get pregnant. But the females in these kinds of situation, do they get pregnant?
Yes.
You mean to say, even if they do not have 3 square meals a day, no education, no access to the church, they can still get pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
Arguably, number one, because they don't have education.
And because sex is an instinct,
it's
right?
an instinct, Your Honor.
And as a matter of fact, we know that in constitutional law, this is a marginal area. When we start to talk about sex and intimacy and the powers of government within this field, it is really a very, shall we say, ambiguous territory that we go into. So the fact is that they do get pregnant. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Just to go straight to one point, is this law a law that encourages promiscuity?
No, Your Honor.
Is this a law that encourages sex? As a matter of fact, do you need law to encourage sex?
No, Your Honor.
I take your word for that. But in any case, so this is not a law that encourages sex or promiscuity. But still, sex happens among the poor and the rich. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But why is it that the fertility rates of the rich is lower than the fertility rates of the poor? In other words, if I may try to understand it from a lay perspective, that the number of children per capita of those who are considered poor are bigger, are larger, or more, than the people who are rich. Why is this, counsel?
Possibly because those who are wealthy have more education, and they want, because they're educated, they want to space their children, and they want their children to have the best, so they don't have to have as many children, Your Honor.
The people who are rich and are catching time, etc., do not have the time. They work 8 hours a day. If they were a justice of the Supreme Court, they would be working, 25 hours a day, etc. If they were Solicitor General, more than that. So they will not have time to do these kinds of activities. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I hope that some of us can have some time for that. But in any case, so the point is that there is time. Also that they know the consequences. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the consequences have something to do with their financial status, etc.
Yes, Your Honor.
But how come, on the part of those who are poor, that these are not a consideration? First, that they have time, on their hands. Second, that they do not see it as something that will burden them. Instead, they see it as something that will help them. Why is this, Counsel?
Probably because of some of the ill-informed conclusions will that be when you have more children, for example, the poor, then there are more helping hands. But then, there are more mouths to feed, Your Honor.
The truth is that some do not know better. That can be a possibility.
It can be, Your Honor.
Can also be that they know that a large number of children increases the probability that one of them may be able to go to the UP College of Law as a state university, make it as a lawyer, join the Solicitor General's office, become a bit richer, etc., and therefore be able to plow back some of the wealth back to the family and get them out of poverty. Is that
Yes,
not
Your
correct?
Honor.
So there are lots of reasons why they will have sex, they will have children, etc. Let me go to another point now that I want to make. Why is it that we just don't maybe say that sex is unconstitutional? Sex outside marriage is unconstitutional. By the way, is it illegal to have sex outside marriage?
I don't believe under the revised penal code, Your Honor.
So long as they are adults, to be very clear.
Yes, Your Honor.
So why don't we go directly to that point? Why can't we not simply outlaw the act itself?
That will collide with among others, constitutional right to liberty.
Liberty, and we will be controlling,
privacy.
most importantly, women's bodies.
Yes.
We would go into privacy questions, and I think most important of all, that kind of law cannot be implemented.
I agree, Your
Because it
Honor.
will be impractical. Is that not correct?
Yes, it will involve the government getting into the privacy of the bedrooms or the.
So definitely it is not the avenue. So we are saying, are you saying, Counsel, that this law was not to encourage promiscuity?
Yes,
It
Your
is
Honor,
not
it's
to outlaw sex. It is not to impose a morality. But
Agree.
can we say that this law acknowledges a reality that there may be those people who are not as fortunate as you and I that need more information, that need more assistance in order to buy, as one justice would say, a condom or any kind of contraceptive that is not an abortifacient in order to be able to assist them.
I
Is
agree,
that not
Your
correct?
Honor.
Yes. And of course, there are, shall we say, side effects to this law. That incidentally, perhaps, some people might abuse the possibility that there are this information and go morally wayward because the church do not teach them properly or the family do not teach them properly. Is that not correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Your Honor.
But that is not the lookout of the Congress. Is that not correct?
That's correct. Your
Yes,
Honor.
the Congress has to act on something, a problem, but you cannot expect it to have a solution that is perfect, because there is no such thing as perfection in this world.
We agree,
Is that
Your
not
Honor.
correct? And therefore, there are laws that will have some bad effects, and there are laws that, but considering the good effect of a particular law upon the judgment of Congress, then therefore they pass a particular piece of legislation. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
By the way, Counsel, is that not true also with any kind of technology?
Yes, Your Honor.
That there are good and bad sides, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
The iPad is good to put in our information, but it is also bad because it tempts all of us to go to games, I'm not sure, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and lose our focus on what we have. Paracetamol, as we read earlier, has side effects. So does an IUD or even a condom, perhaps, can have a side effect and may not result to something which it is intended. Is that not correct?
We agree, Your Honor.
Yes. So therefore, we have to grant a particular agency in government that right to make a mistake. Is that not true?
Yes, Your Honor.
And for so long as that mistake has been tempered, in other words, made as a political decision, and does not infringe upon the core values that are contained in the Constitution, this court, as you said, must stay its hand. Is
Yes.
that your position?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And in this particular case, yes, we are touching upon very raw nerves: life, sex, intimacy, morality. Still and all, our benchmark, our framework, should be from the point of view of our secular constitution. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
We have to suspend our moral judgments in order to be able to see whether there is a compelling secular interest, as Justice Carpio would call it, a compelling secular interest that the Congress had the right to promulgate. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
After all, counsel, it is not too late because since these are facial challenges, there can be an actual case later on that can come up to this court, and this will not be res judicata, or will it be, counsel?
It will not be res
It will not be res judicata because now it is only a facial challenge. A while ago, there was a slide which said how to prevent a child being born, something like that. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your
The
Honor.
3 points. May I add one more point, if you will agree with me, that being a bachelor can result to not having a child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, not necessarily.
Also, Your Honor.
Yes, celibacy for that matter, or abstinence, as one justice would say it. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Or some people try, but for reasons only God will know, they cannot have children. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. So in any case, there are many reasons why you cannot have a child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, it is not only because that act or that event is an abortifacient. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Can I go to another point, just to move on quickly? Constitutional interpretation. There is originalism. Is that not right?
Yes, Your Honor.
It's a modality that is accepted, but it is not universal, and it is not foolproof. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because in originalism, we assume that the people ratified the words in the Constitution knowing the meanings that were in the minds of the framers of the Constitution. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And therefore, there are legitimate constitutional theories which say that originalism is not true or should not be the modality.
Yes, Your Honor.
There is also the interpretative mode of contemporary construction, looking at what the words mean to people today. And I think that is your theory in terms of your initial presentation, that the political departments have as much right to read the Constitution, provided that the words can be borne by the meaning that they impose on it. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, and that too is legitimate.
Yes, Your Honor.
And also on the part of the court, we can look at the context of the words in the Constitution, such as, for instance, Article 3, Section 1.
Yes, Your Honor.
No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
But on the other hand, we look at Article 2. Article 2 does not use the word life only once. There are many other provisions in Article 2 of our Constitution which actually provides for life.
Yes, Your
I
Honor.
mentioned, for instance, Section 5, where it says, the maintenance of peace, order, the protection of life, liberty, and property, and the promotion of general welfare are essential to democracy. It balances life, the right to life, with all the other necessities such as general welfare, etc. And there are a few more, like Section 11. The state values the dignity of every human person and guarantees full respect for human rights. This includes a person, a female, who cannot eat 3 meals a day, but has to bear children simply because she doesn't know any better. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And there is Section 17 of the Constitution, which actually says that the state shall give priority to education, science, etc., and then at the last clause, and promote total human liberation and development. So, in other words, as again another justice mentioned, the Constitution is not passive about life. It does not simply prevent the government from touching it. It requires government to have to instill a quality of life. In fact, if I am not mistaken, it is also provided in the Constitution in Article 2, Section 9, that one of the goals of the state is an improved quality of life for all, or to read the entire phrase, a rising standard of living and an improved quality of life for all. Do you see that in your Constitution,
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel? So therefore, it is not only the prevention of the touching of life as we imagine it, but that the state has also a role or a duty to improve the quality of life of everyone. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. Just a few technical issues. The 1966 law that you mentioned, it was not challenged under the 1935 Constitution. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Probably because, as one justice mentioned, there is no provision there on the right to life as we have it here in the 87 Constitution.
Yes, Your Honor.
But do you know, has it been challenged under the 1987 Constitution?
I believe not. Not also.
And 1987 is about 40 years,
26.
26 years ago, and it has not likewise been challenged. So, again, Counsel, is it a fair assessment to see this law as providing for informed consent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any coercion?
No, Your Honor. There's
It's like providing all the menu of options in order that there can be a choice of the couple based upon the religious conviction to space their children. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And spacing children, I believe, is in Catholic doctrine as well as in Islamic doctrine. Is that not correct?
I believe so.
Yes. It is like pork, made available to the public, but because of the strength of a religion, people who believe in Islam do not eat pork or do not drink wine. But it is available, freely available. And in fact, government has an agency that actually checks the quality of pork. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And what we have here is simply a government initiative to allow the FDA to check the viability of contraceptives in order to be able to assure itself that it is safe and non-abortive asset. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. There is a problem with Section 9 as some of us see it. It says intrauterine devices and other safe, therefore creating an initial impression that all intrauterine devices and all hormonal contraceptives are already determined by the law as safe. Is this a fair reading of the law?
Well, you have to read it in relation, Your Honor, with 4A.
Which is that it must not be an abortive
It must
agent.
not be abortive
Therefore,
agent.
are we saying that there are contraceptives that can be abortive agents?
There could be, depending on the finding of fact of FDA.
And we are also saying that there are contraceptives which will not be an abortive agent, provided that it is used in the proper way.
Yes,
Yes.
depending again on the FDA's findings.
The FDA normally says there are indications or there are ways by which a drug must be ingested. Is that not correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Therefore, can we conclude that all drugs can actually kill people, or there are drugs which can actually kill people if not used properly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Like, for instance, bisolvon, a cough syrup, can be, addictive, and so on and so forth. Rugby, I think, is used by some. So, in short, counsel, does this law, therefore, from your point of view, enhance the right to life?
Yes, Your
Or
Honor.
does it prevent the life, quality of life from happening?
It improves the quality of life.
Is it fair for us to doubt whether it will work or not work?
We should.
I guess we should. But the point is, should our presumption be to allow this to be implemented because the political organs made the judgment, absent again any clear showing that it does violate clear textual provision in our Constitution?
We will try to persuade Your Honors that there is no violation of any textual provision.
Thank you.
Thank you.